Hey everybody, welcome to Moment of Clarity. I want to get to some viewer questions here. By the way, if you leave a comment, you'll be entered to win a free download of my comedy special from LeeCampComedySpecial.com, and I will say who the winners are from last week at the end of this episode. So leave a comment or question if you get a chance. Okay, so let's get to some questions here. Mike Burns is replying to the segment I did on FEMA, and does FEMA actually help, or do they matter at all? And I pointed out that there was one of the many things I pointed out is that there was turns out there's a huge racial difference in which houses FEMA will offer to buy, because they will offer to buy certain houses that have been flooded and are unfixable or whatever. So you could sell the house to FEMA. It turns out they're much more likely to offer that to people in wealthier areas and whiter areas. So fuck you, FEMA. Just putting it out there, just a good old fuck you, FEMA. Mike Burns is responding to that, and he says, "We were Harvey victims. They never offered to buy the house. We had no money to fix it. They did offer low interest loans to rebuild, but you had to be anti-BDS, and we are so overloaded with debt, the idea was impossible." But before I go on with the rest of what Mike said, which obviously, Mike, I'm very sorry to hear that to begin with, but I had to read this 3 times before I was like, what the fuck was that? Because listen to what he just said. Our house was flooded or destroyed by Hurricane Harvey in Texas. And in order to get a low-interest loan to rebuild, you had to be anti-BDS, boycott, divest, and sanctions, meaning you had to sign something saying, I will not boycott Israel so that I can get a loan to fix my house from this hurricane. Yeah. And I guess I vaguely remember this story from back when it happened, but I'd forgotten about it. And I'm like, does BDS mean something else? I don't know about. Because it's so utterly preposterous. It's so dumb. Like, you start thinking about it, and you're like, why is he talking about BDS? Why Israel? Your brain is swirling and confused, and it just starts hitting itself with a frying pan, because it's like, why is he talking about Israel? We were talking about floods, wow, Texas. And then I remembered it, and then I looked it up, and literally you had to. Let's see, I can read the actual. This from the article. The form includes a clause headline. This is a form to get a fucking low-interest loan for rebuilding your house. The form includes a clause headline, verification not to boycott Israel. It states, quote, by executing the agreement below, the applicant verifies that the applicant, 1, does not boycott Israel, 2, will not boycott Israel during the term of this agreement. Wow, Texas. And it's moments like that where you're like, you know what, America? You had a good run. Say lovey. Fucking just tap out. Just what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? But literally, and then Texas was brought to court over it, because it might be violation of freedom of speech, and the fact that we're a country founded on boycotts. That was the beginning of the fucking thing, with dumping the tea in the goddamn harbor. Like, boycott this tea. That's who we are. We should be called in the United States of boycott. And yet here they are trying to make sure you don't boycott Israel, or you can't repair your house after a flood. They don't even logically connect. It would be like, if you want to put out this fire, you got to sign something saying that you think sexual harassment against women is totes cool. Yeah, just sign this thing saying you're fine with, you're totally cool, absolutely cool with sexual harassment. A good slap to the ass, right? Good few comments here or there. Just sign this thing saying you're all cool with that, and we'll help you put out that fire there, because the fire's getting pretty bad. So you should probably sign that form. I mean, equally illogical. Anyway, to get back to Mike, because he's speaking some truth. It sounds. I thought maybe he was on something. You know, maybe maybe he was doing like a Mad Libs, like Mad Libs of anger, anti-BDS, floods, loans. But no, totally legit. So he then goes on. We live on the land in an old camp trailer without any water since the flood took out the well. Also, they did give us enough to stay in an apartment for 6 months before we had to move back. I could have fixed things better, but I'm disabled. So, Mike, obviously, I'm sorry to hear about your situation. That is fucked up on I'd say pi different levels. That is fucked up on 3.14, a bunch of digits, different levels. Pi level of fucked up in this. Yeah, the flood took out the water, so and that's how so there's so many people in our country that are living like it's a third world country. We act like we're, if you watch the media, we're the richest country in the world. And by the way, our media does heavily stories angled towards the rich, because guess what? All the anchors are very rich. All the producers are very rich of the mainstream media, of the big channels. All the directors, the heads, they're all very rich. So what concerns them? Very rich things. So they're not doing that many stories. Yeah, you'll see an occasional story on Flint, Michigan, but they're not doing that many stories on how your water's not clean. How you literally lost your water in Harvey. How many years ago was that? And you still don't have water. Like, a lot of people in this country are living in a third world environment. It's incredible. Let's go on. This is about Natalie's segment. Natalie McGill did a web exclusive video on prisons and how the Black Caucus was taking money from private prisons and therefore not standing up against them. And S. Harvarak L. Says most private prison companies contractually require 100% occupation. How is this good in any way? Yeah, the contracts are totally fucking ridiculous. I think if I remember correctly, they don't usually require 100%. It's usually like 90, 95%. They require some high level of occupation from the states. So the states sign a contract. Apparently the theme of this episode is fucked up contracts. The states sign a contract saying they will keep the private prisons almost entirely full, and if they don't, the private prisons can collect money from them and say we're breaking their contract. And so guess what a state does when it has to keep people in prison? When you need people behind bars all of the time, they fucking keep them there. They don't let them out. They arrest them for nothing. Because that's what you need. More warm fucking bodies to put in these beds. Get them in there. Okay. Well, the third screw on your license plate is not really tucked into the grooves correctly. It's got a little bit of a slant there, and so that's a traffic violation right there. And I don't like the way you're looking at me. So let's head on into prison there, and we'll get you locked up nice and neat, like a bug in a rug and a tug. And there are many bugs in the rugs in a prison. So yeah, the contracts. Why would you ever sign a contract saying you'll keep prisons full? That's like signing a contract saying you'll keep graveyards full. Well, what are you gonna do if you don't have enough dead bodies? I gotta create some. Let's go off some people so we can keep these graveyards full. Private graveyards. It's like signing a contract you'll keep the fire department busy. Yeah, guys, we will really keep this city burning. So this city's gonna be fucking on fire all the time. We promise you, we'll sign that contract. You come over here, you help us deal with these fires, but we're gonna keep them going. We'll keep them going nice and good, nice and warm. Andre Diaz, it's like signing a contract. I'm not done. It's like signing a contract saying you'll have a certain number of collapsing bridges in the city. Yeah, listen, we are hiring you to fix the bridges, and we promise you there'll be 10 bridges collapsing at any moment. And if we don't have 10 bridges collapsing, we'll send the town drunk to go fucking run into the bridge a bunch of times in his car. He's got a strong car. It'll be good. Yeah, Carl will handle it. He hit 3 bridges last week. We hadn't even started him working yet. Hadn't even started on the job. Hitting bridges. He was getting warmed up. Andre Diaz says, this is my response. Andre's responding to my segment on how the Amazon forest fires, which are horrific right now, over 80,000 fires burning in the Amazon, destroying our rainforests. By the way, amazing meme that's been going around saying, wrong Amazon on fire, wrong ice melting, as in ice, the department. Brilliant. But about how Bolsonaro, the proto-fascist fucking president of Brazil, has, and as I always say, I use proto-fascist in the kindest form of the term, the nicest way you can mean proto-fascist. He's encouraged burning of the Amazon, so it's a complete crime against humanity, what they're doing there. And so I was talking about getting him out of office by exposing the massive corruption scandal that has come out. So it is somewhat exposed, but it's not on our mainstream media. You turn on TV, it's not gonna show up there. So I was saying we need to get that story out there more. Andre Diaz says, Bolsonaro clearly the culprit of the fires of the Amazon. Andre says, I'm in Brazil. Talking about the fraud in the election won't cut it. To take Bolsonaro down, put economic pressure like the EU is doing. Well, a couple of things about that. One, economic pressure never makes a president step down. Never been proven to make a president step down. Now, at times, it can make people angry enough that they create a revolution against the president, which is what the U.S. is trying to create in Venezuela. They're trying to crush them economically, literally killing people through economics in order to try and force them to rise up against the Maduro government. That's what the U.S. is doing because we like killing people with economics. And it's not working. Not working in Venezuela. It often causes far more harm than good. And guess who gets hurt by economic pressure, by economic destruction in various countries? Not the rich, not the Bolsonaros, not the fucking oligarchs of whichever country, not the billionaires, not the corporate owners. They're doing okay. Yeah, they might lose some of their money. Some of their money might get captured here or there, but they're generally doing okay. You know who really gets hurt is the poor, the people that were already struggling. Those are the ones that can't just pick themselves up and move to another spot. That's there's more wealth over here. It's wealthy over here later at night. They can't just do that, so they get hurt. They can't afford medicine. They can't afford food. Life becomes a horror show to them. So I don't think dealing with the fires in the Amazon, I don't think the best solution to that is to crush poor people economically. Not down for that. Now, if there's other ways you want to put pressure economically on Bolsonaro, such as, let's say, they won't sell him weapons he wants or something that doesn't hurt the poor, then okay. Now we can talk. All right. If they want to take his yacht away, okay, sure, absolutely. But I don't think, crushing poor people is really the answer to anything. Winners for this week. Oh, by the way, I'm performing live in Toronto, Canada, Los Angeles, Ventura, California, and Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin. And all of that is at leecamp.com. Click the schedule tab. leecamp.com. Click the schedule tab. And the Los Angeles show, there's only about like 20 or 30 tickets left. And Toronto, yeah, just added that. So, yeah, go check all that out. You can also vote for your city to be added. And last thing before I announce the winners from last week of the comedy special, last thing I wanted to say is I'm being suppressed, as many of you know, on every outlet. I'm suppressed on Facebook. I'm suppressed on here on YouTube in many ways because I'm anti-war and that kind of thing, and that can't be allowed. So honestly, the number one way to keep in touch with me, to keep track, to follow my videos is to be on my email list. I'm less suppressed there, far less suppressed on my email list. So go sign up for free. It's at leecamp.com, or you can just text the word redacted to 444-999 in your phone right now. Redacted, 444-999. That'll get you signed up to our free email list as long as you reply with your email after it prompts you to. All right, winners from last week. If you leave a comment here, you'll be entered to win next week. The winners are Telcod, Telcod, someone who likes to talk to fish, and Josephine Dark. You are the winners, and all you have to do is email leecampledger@protonmail.com, and we'll get you that free comedy special. If you did not win, but you want to check out the comedy special, it's at leecampcomedyspecial.com. Until next time, keep fighting.